Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today, and we're gonna unpack the Zodiac.
Yeah, the Zodiac. I'm
Yeah.
so excited about this one. We've got this great source that goes way beyond those, daily horoscopes
Right?
and really digs into what each sign means, like where it comes from, what it says about us.
Yeah.
But before we get to all that good stuff,
Yeah.
like, you know, are you a chatty Gemini or a
Eh.
driven Capricorn or whatever?
We gotta clear up something that I think trips up a lot of people,
Absolutely.
and that's the whole like constellation versus zodiac sign thing.
Yeah, it's a really common misconception.
It
People
is.
use them interchangeably.
Totally.
Assuming, I'm a Leo.
Right.
It's directly related to that constellation of stars.
Yeah.
It looks like the lion.
Yeah. I used to think they were the same thing. So how do those constellations, those shapes we see in the night sky, how do they connect to
Yeah.
the zodiac signs we read about?
Okay, so think about it this way. Constellations are like landmarks that we see from Earth.
Okay.
They're groups of stars that, from our perspective here, look like they form a pattern, but
They're incredibly far apart, and they're also constantly moving, just really, really slowly.
so it's like our viewpoint, our perspective here on Earth that
Yeah.
makes those groups of stars look like, a scorpion or a ram or a set of scales.
Exactly. And that actually ties into the whole concept of the geocentric model in Western astrology.
Okay, I have to admit, whenever I hear geocentric, I always get a little nervous,
Right.
like we're going back to, the dark ages where we think that the Earth is the center of everything.
Right. Right. No, and it's not about that.
Right.
But it's still about perspective, right?
So imagine, like, the sun rising and setting each day. That's our experience of it from Earth, right?
Right.
So astrologers use that Earth-centered perspective to understand how those cosmic energies, those planetary movements, are influencing us down here.
So it's kind of like, I don't know if this is a good example, but like those time zone maps, the world keeps spinning.
Exactly.
That where you are on the globe determines if it's breakfast time.
Right.
Or if it's like way past your bedtime.
Okay.
Our location like shapes how we experience things.
100%. So going back to the Zodiac,
Mhm.
it takes that Earth-centered view and divides the sun's apparent path throughout the year into 12 equal sections.
Oh,
Each section represents one of the zodiac signs, like slices on a giant cosmic pie chart.
hold on. So those signs, those slices, they're fixed. They don't move.
You got it. They're like those lines on a basketball court,
Yeah.
always in the same place. Constellations, on the other hand, are more like those giant inflatable mascots they bring out during halftime.
They might drift around a bit over a long, long time, but the court itself stays put.
Okay, so the zodiac signs are like the framework, the underlying structure, and then the constellations are almost like, I don't know, decoration.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
And just like those decorations add to the atmosphere of a basketball game, the constellations add another layer of symbolism and meaning to astrology.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about your sign, we're talking about that fixed zodiac wheel
Gotcha.
and where the sun was in its journey when you were born.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get this whole constellations versus zodiac thing.
But now I really want to know, what do those 12 signs actually,
Yeah.
what do they represent?
We'll get ready for a ride because each sign is like a mini universe of its own.
Okay.
They're not just personality types, they're archetypes.
Oh,
These universal patterns of energy that play out in different areas of life.
archetypes,
Yeah.
like in those classic, hero stories and stuff.
Yes.
So you're saying, there's an astrological Hercules or a Joan of Arc inside all of us.
Kind of.
Think about how, those heroes represent certain qualities, like, courage or determination, that willingness to fight for what's right.
Right.
Astrological archetypes are similar in that they embody, these
Yeah.
core energies and motivations. That can really resonate with us on a much deeper level.
Oh, I like that.
And just like those epic tales, each sign has its own unique journey around the zodiac wheel.
Oh.
Like it's got its own story that it's trying to tell.
Okay, I am so ready to hear these stories. Where do we even begin?
Well, every good story has a beginning.
That's true.
And in the zodiac, that beginning is Aries, the ram, the first sign of the zodiac.
Okay.
Our source describes Aries as like that initial spark of life, like the burst of energy that sets everything in motion.
It's that like impulsive, ready to conquer the world energy, right?
Yes.
Like I can already see the ram imagery like charging headfirst into whatever's in front of them.
Exactly. Aries is all about action, independence, leadership. It's that raw, instinctual energy that drives us to assert ourselves
Right.
and pursue our goals fearlessly.
So Aries is like the entrepreneur, the trailblazer, the one who's always like pushing boundaries.
Yes.
But I imagine all that fire, I mean, it can lead to some, shall we say, heated moments.
You said it.
Yeah.
And that's where that Aries shadow side can come in.
Okay.
Because they're so focused on their own needs and desires that they can sometimes come across as, like, impatient, impulsive, or even a little self-centered.
Makes sense. That's a lot of fire to handle.
Right.
Okay, after all that, like Aries action, where does our Zodiac story take us next?
Well, after that initial burst of energy, you kind of need to, like, ground yourself.
Okay.
Build them solid.
Right.
And that's where our next sign comes in. Taurus, the builder of the Zodiac.
From fire to earth. That's quite a shift.
I can already, like, feel things slowing down a bit. Our source talks about how, like, Taurus rules the five senses.
Yes.
So I'm guessing, like, this is a sign that's all about, indulging in the physical world.
100%.
If Aries is about igniting the spark, Taurus is all about, like, tending the flame,
Creating a comfortable and beautiful life.
Oh, nice.
Think delicious food, cozy spaces, like enjoyment of art and music, all things sensual and pleasurable.
Okay, so, like those Taurus stereotypes, stubborn as a bull, loves their creature comforts.
Is there any truth to that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it comes from a place of wanting stability, security,
Right.
beauty in their surroundings.
Okay.
Remember, Taurus is a fixed earth sign, so they crave that consistency.
Okay.
You find comfort in the tangible world.
But of course, that can sometimes like manifest as resistance to change or being overly possessive of their,
Yes.
things and loved ones.
Absolutely.
And it's like that saying, I'm not stubborn, I'm just,
Dedicated to my comfort zone or something.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready for the next chapter in our, like, Zodiac saga here.
What comes after Taurus?
Hold on to your hats, because things are about to get a whole lot breezier.
Okay.
Next up is Gemini, the communicator of the Zodiac, symbolized by the twins.
Ah, Gemini. The sign of, like, the social butterfly, always flitting from one conversation to the next.
Yeah.
I definitely know a few Geminis who fit that description.
It's that duality,
Yeah.
that multifaceted nature that makes Gemini so captivating.
Right.
They're curious, they're adaptable.
And they're always eager to learn something new. Like if it sparks their intellectual curiosity, a Gemini is there with bells on.
Our source calls Gemini the messenger. Does that have anything to do with how they're always on their phone, like texting up a storm?
Totally. Gemini is associated with communication in all its forms, writing, speaking, even those emoji-filled texts you mentioned.
They're the connectors of the Zodiac. They bridge the gaps between people and ideas.
But like all that mental energy, that has to be exhausting, right? Like I can't imagine.
Right.
I imagine Geminis need a break from all that, like stimulation sometimes.
You're absolutely right. And that constant need for mental stimulation can sometimes make it hard for Geminis to slow down, focus on one thing at a time.
Oh, yeah.
Or even fully process their emotions.
Right.
It's that classic air sign dilemma, head versus heart.
So finding balance is key for Gemini.
Yes.
Balancing, their intellectual curiosity with their emotional well-being.
Exactly.
This is fascinating stuff.
It is, and it gets even more interesting as we move on to our next sign.
Okay.
Cancer, the nurturer of the Zodiac.
From air to water, we're diving into the emotional depths now.
Yes, we are.
I've always heard, like, Cancer is the most sensitive sign.
Is that true?
They certainly feel things deeply.
Okay.
Ruled by the moon, Cancer's all about emotions, intuition, and creating a sense of home and belonging.
Our source mentions the crab, in its protective shell.
Yes.
Is that where, like, Cancer's reputation for being, like, such homebodies comes from?
Exactly.
Crabs carry their homes on their backs.
That's true.
And similarly, Cancers create a sense of safety and comfort wherever they go.
Oh.
They're incredibly loyal, compassionate.
And deeply in touch with their emotions and the emotions of others.
So they're like the ultimate caregivers, like the friend you always turn to for a shoulder to cry on.
Exactly. But that sensitivity can also be a double-edged sword.
Right.
Cancers can be prone to mood swings, taking things personally, or retreating into their shells if they feel threatened.
It's like they need that safe haven, that emotional sanctuary to kind of like recharge.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Wow, we're already like halfway through the Zodiac wheel.
I know.
This is flying by.
Time flies when you're having fun. Right. And speaking of fun, get ready for a grand entrance. Because next up is Leo, the performer of the Zodiac.
Okay, this is where I get a little starstruck.
Because, like, Leo energy is contagious. It's like the entire world becomes their stage.
Our source describes them as natural leaders, which, makes sense, right? Like, given their association with the lion, the king of the jungle.
Right. There's like a regal quality to Leos.
They're confident, they're charismatic, they radiate warmth and generosity.
Yes.
They crave attention and admiration.
But not in a, like, self-centered way. It's more because they genuinely want to share their light with the world.
They're like the life of the party, always bringing people together, making sure everyone feels included.
But of course, there's got to be a potential downside to all that radiance, right?
Right.
Like, Leos can sometimes be prone to drama, vanity, or really needing to be the center of attention.
It's like a delicate dance. Owning your power without, like, overshadowing others.
It's that constant balancing act we've been talking about with all the signs.
I got it. It's about understanding the strength and challenges of each archetype.
Right.
And how they play out in our lives.
This is so insightful.
Okay, we're on a roll here. What comes after the radiant Leo?
Get ready to trade those dancing shoes for a good pair of spectacles, because we're entering the realm of Virgo, the analyst of the Zodiac.
From dazzling Leo to meticulous Virgo. Talk about a shift in energy. Our source connects Virgo with, like, the work, which, knowing Virgos, is probably done, like, perfect.
Right. There's definitely a strong work ethic with Virgo.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, like, getting things done.
Right.
It's about doing them well.
Right.
Virgos are detail-oriented. They're analytical, always striving for improvement. Remember how Taurus finds comfort in that physical world?
Yeah.
Virgo kind of takes that a step further, wanting to refine, organize, and perfect their surroundings.
So they're the ones, like, color-coding their bookshelves and planning the most efficient road trip itinerary and, like, always having the perfect organizational system for everything.
You've got it. And that attention to detail can be incredibly valuable.
Virgos are often the ones who spot those errors everyone else misses, You come up with the practical solutions, keep things running smoothly.
But I imagine, like, that level of meticulousness, it could also be a bit intense.
For sure.
The shadow side of Virgo can manifest as perfectionism, overthinking, being overly critical of themselves and others.
Right. That classic Virgo struggle. Finding that balance between, like, striving for excellence and also accepting imperfection.
Absolutely.
Well, after all that meticulous organizing, I think I need a break to, like, socialize what comes after Virgo in our zodiac journey.
Get ready to smooth talk your way into a dinner party because it's Libra season.
Ooh.
Ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty and harmony, Libras are all about balance, fairness, and creating a sense of peace in their relationships and their surroundings.
Our source keeps emphasizing those, like, scales of justice as Libra's symbol.
Right.
So it's not just, like, outward appearances, but also that, like, inner sense of fairness.
Exactly. Libras have a strong moral compass and a deep desire for harmony. They excel at diplomacy, mediation, and really seeing all sides of the situation.
Which makes sense, right? Because, like, remember how Aries is all about, like, asserting their individuality?
Yes.
Libra is the opposite. Like, they thrive in partnership, always seeking to create that sense of balance and fairness.
Exactly. But I imagine it can't always be easy.
Right.
Constantly trying to, like, keep everything and everyone in equilibrium.
Right, because, like, taking a stand might, like, disrupt the harmony.
Right.
It's fascinating how, like, each sign has these, like, strengths and challenges that are like two sides of the same coin.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about integrating those different energies.
Finding what works best for us.
Okay, I'm ready for the next stop on our Zodiac adventure. What comes after diplomatic Libra?
Get ready for an emotional roller coaster because we're diving into the depths with Scorpio, the most intense and enigmatic sign of the Zodiac.
Scorpio. The sign that, like, everyone loves to both admire and fear.
Right.
Our source talks about how Scorpio rules, like, all those, like, kind of taboo subjects, like, death, sex, and transformation. That's some heavy stuff.
It definitely gets real with Scorpio.
Right.
So while Cancer is associated with, like, those nurturing aspects of water, Scorpio represents its more, like, mysterious and powerful currents. They're fascinated by the hidden aspects of life, like the things that lie beneath the surface.
Our source mentions the scorpion and its stinger.
Right.
Is that where, like, Scorpio's reputation for being, shall we say, unforgettable comes from?
There's definitely an intensity to Scorpios.
Oh,
they feel things deeply.
Okay.
They aren't afraid to explore those dark corners of like their own psyches and the world around them. But that intensity can be channeled into incredible strength, passion, and a willingness to transform themselves and their lives.
So like all those Scorpio stereotypes, the passionate lover, the loyal friend,
Yes.
the person you don't want to cross.
Right.
That's all like part of that like complex tapestry.
Exactly. And it's important to remember those are just like aspects of that Scorpio archetype.
Right.
Like all signs, there's a shadow side.
Right.
And for Scorpio, that can manifest as jealousy, possessiveness,
Okay.
or a desire for control.
It's like they have this like raw primal energy that can be both exhilarating and like a little intimidating.
100%.
Okay, I am ready for a change of pace. What comes after our deep dive with Scorpio?
Pack your bags and grab your compass because we're off on an adventure with Sagittarius, the archer of the Zodiac.
Yes. Time to like lighten things up a bit.
Our source describes Sagittarius as like the eternal student, always searching for like, truth, wisdom, new
Right.
experiences. It's giving very much like wanderlust vibes.
100%. If Scorpio is about diving deep, Sagittarius is about expanding outward.
I like that.
They're freedom-loving, optimistic, and always eager to explore new cultures, philosophies, ways of life.
Our source mentions the archer's arrow, like always aiming for something beyond the horizon.
Yes.
I love that imagery.
It's a perfect representation of their desire for like knowledge and adventure.
But that constant need for expansion can also be a double-edged sword.
Right. How's it?
Because sometimes in their quest for like truth, they can be a bit blunt, tactless,
Right.
or have trouble staying grounded.
So it's about finding that balance between like their adventurous spirit
Yes.
and like the need for, commitment and follow through.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a theme we've seen with so many of the signs. That's right.
Absolutely.
This is fascinating stuff.
Okay, who's next on our Zodiac lineup?
Get ready to climb the ladder of success because we're entering the domain of Capricorn, the ambitious mountain goat of the Zodiac.
Capricorn, the sign of like CEOs, entrepreneurs, anyone who's ever set a goal and like actually achieved it.
Right.
I know Capricorns have this like reputation for being like kind of serious,
Right.
but there's got to be more to them than just hard work, right?
There's definitely that ambitious drive with Capricorns.
Yeah.
But it comes from this deep sense of responsibility, discipline, and a desire to really like make a tangible impact on the world.
Right.
They're the builders, the organizers, the ones who really lay the groundwork for like lasting success.
Our source mentions Capricorn ruling, like structures and traditions.
Right.
I can see how that fits with their like responsible, goal-oriented nature.
Absolutely. But that focus on achievement can sometimes lead them to be overly serious,
Right.
rigid,
Okay.
or even a bit pessimistic if things don't go according to plan.
It's like they need to remember to like celebrate the journey, not just the destination.
Right.
Easier said than done for a Capricorn, I imagine.
Right.
Okay, 2 signs left.
Who will we be meeting next?
Get ready for a jolt of originality because we're entering the innovative realm of Aquarius, the water bearer of the Zodiac.
Aquarius.
Yeah.
The rebel. The humanitarian.
The one who's always like marching to the beat of their own drum. Our source describes them as like forward-thinking and independent, which like totally tracks with like what I know about Aquarians.
They're definitely the free spirits of the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Always questioning the status quo.
Right.
Looking for ways to like make the world a better place.
Right.
Remember how Gemini is all about like communication and connecting ideas?
Yeah.
Aquarius kind of takes that energy to like a global level, concerned with social justice,
Oh, wow.
humanitarian causes,
Okay.
the betterment of like humanity as a whole.
They're like the inventors, the activists, the ones who dare to like dream big and then like challenge us to do the same.
Exactly. But that independence streak can also make it challenging for them to like connect on a personal level.
Okay.
They can be emotionally detached,
Right.
rebellious just for the sake of it,
Okay.
or even a bit elusive.
So it's about finding that balance between like their idealism
Yes.
and then also their ability to like connect with others on an emotional level.
100%.
It's fascinating how like each sign has these like almost like paradoxical qualities that make them so unique.
Okay, we've reached our final like destination on this Zodiac journey.
Huh.
Tell me everything about Pisces, the dreamy fish of the Zodiac.
Get ready to embrace your emotions because Pisces is all about empathy,
Okay.
intuition, and those boundless realms of imagination.
Our source describes Pisces as like the dreamers of the Zodiac.
Yes.
And I know they're a water sign,
Yeah.
so I imagine they're just like swimming in a sea of feelings most of the time.
They're definitely the most sensitive and intuitive sign of the zodiac.
Deeply in tune with their own emotions and the emotions of those around them. Remember how Cancer seeks emotional security?
Yes.
Pisces takes that a step further, seeking spiritual connection
Okay.
and a sense of oneness with the universe.
They're like the artists, the healers, the ones who just like see the world through this like different lens, a lens colored with like empathy and imagination.
Exactly. But that sensitivity can also be a double-edged sword.
Right.
Pisces can be prone to escapism, idealizing situations and people,
Right.
or taking on the emotional burdens of others a little too easily.
So it's about finding that balance, right?
Yes.
Between like their intuitive, empathetic nature.
And then the need to, like, set healthy boundaries.
Absolutely. It's a theme we've seen throughout our entire zodiac journey.
It really is. Like, each sign has its strengths, its weaknesses.
Exactly.
And, like, understanding, I feel like all those nuances is really key to, like,
Yes.
personal growth, understanding ourselves, and then, like, the people around us.
100%.
Wow. This deep dive has been, like, quite the journey we've explored. Like, the archetypes, the myths, the strengths, the challenges.
Of all 12 signs.
I know.
This has been an incredible, insightful
Yes.
journey through the zodiac.
It's amazing how much we can learn from these, like, ancient symbols, isn't it?
Yeah.
They offer such a rich tapestry of, like, human experience.
Like reflecting like the full spectrum of our emotions,
Right.
our motivations, and our potential.
It really makes you think about how these energies play out, in our own lives, in the lives of the people around us. I know I'm going to be looking at my own, like, birth chart with fresh eyes after this.
Me too. It's a journey of self-discovery that never really ends.
Well said. And on that note, we will leave you to ponder all the wisdom of the zodiac.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep looking deeper.